you are not doing yourself any favors, and you are sure as shit not doing your passion any favors either.
Hello and welcome to the Feminine as Fuck podcast. I'm your host, Monica Yates, a period and ICF certified women's life coach, and I help women to harness the power of their period and connect to their feminine flow. In these episodes, we will be talking about all things periods, hormones, confidence, health, food, money, sex, business, feminine flow, your brain, energy, and all the stuff that goes through our heads. You will walk away from each episode with new chicken nuggets and truth bombs, as I don't have a filter and I love talking about all the shit that people are thinking but too afraid to say.
All right, ladies. Well, the episode that you're about to hear, I actually recorded it when I was sick with laryngitis. So yeah, obviously dedication though. I couldn't take any clients because I had zero brain capacity, but a couple of downloads came through. It was really when I had some Instagram DMs and it kind of made me have some realizations. So I quickly did some really fast chicken nugget recordings. I have this one and one other. So make sure that you have a listen and just excuse the sick voice. And if you haven't already gotten on the Witch Room Wisdom bandwagon, I would highly recommend you do so. For the early bird bonus, which is only available for a few more days, you get the most epic, and I'm not just saying epic because I made it. Like, it is so fucking juicy. I literally texted Shelby after and I was like, holy shit, that masterclass I just recorded is fucking lit. It's a 1 hour long jam-packed, it will take you longer to do because there's some things you need to pause in there. But it is a 1 hour long jam fucking packed masterclass all about like navigating that holiday period, right? That holiday period I feel like is so full of triggers. It's so full of people not expressing their boundaries, not speaking their truth, not being in alignment, not keeping up with their morning routine, falling off the bandwagon, X, Y, and Z. And I'm just like not here for that. Like, I'm here for us all being happy all the time. The holidays are my favorite time of the year. I fucking love the holidays. So that masterclass I feel like is going to be, I know is going to be so insanely invaluable to so many of you. So if you are one of those women or men where you kind of find like Christmas or whatever you celebrate a little bit stressful, then this masterclass is going to blow your fucking socks off. Blow your fucking socks off. And it's available when you get the early bird of Witch Room Wisdom, and you might as well get it because otherwise it's like silly to just buy it by itself. So if you have any questions about whether that's going to be a good suit for you, make sure you just send me an Instagram DM because I'm always really happy to help you navigate whether it is a good fit for you. Otherwise, I hope you enjoy this little nugget about giving unsolicited advice, especially around this holiday period. It's really, really fitting. And we dive deeper into this in the masterclass, the Happy Holidays masterclass, because I do want you to have a happy holiday. But this will give you a little bit of a nugget anyway. And if you're interested in more, just head over to my website. Okay, ladies, so I'm coming to you sick from bed, but this message has come through for me and I wanted to quickly share it. It's going to be a short episode, a good little chicken nugget, but it's going to be a good one. And this is something that's really important over the holiday season. So I got a DM from somebody, and I'd love getting all of your DMs. And like, it started off with basically like, I actually did a Instagram post on it. It's the one where I've got my hands over my eyes in my red dress and talking about being a witch. So like she's kind of asked me a question if I worked with like practicing witches for my witch program. And I was like, I am a witch. Anyway, I wrote about that on my Instagram. So you can go read that if you want to read that. I'll get Shelby to put in the link for the description if you want to read that. But she then kind of like I was like, okay, thanks, and kind of just like put it to bed, right, of just like a boundary of I didn't ask for your feedback, and I didn't ask for your advice anyway. And then she like sent me another really long essay, and it actually made me realize like I want to mention this, that it's going to be in way more depth in Witch Room Wisdom if you get the early bird offering with the bonus module talking about like Christmas and triggers and manifestation for 2020 and all that sort of stuff. But what I want to mention to you guys is if someone has not asked for advice, don't fucking give it. If you actually want to inspire somebody to get into personal development or manifestation or witchiness, whatever the fuck you want to get people into, like, I understand that you might have deep love and deep passion for your work, for your art, and for the other people in your life, and you want to help them. But let me say this, and I want you to fucking like rewind and listen to this again. If they have not asked for advice, do not fucking give it. When you give somebody advice that is unsolicited, when they have not asked for it, you are the problem in the personal development world. Because the problem in the personal development world is like, you are better than everybody else because you've done the work. And then it's like shaming somebody for not being to your quote unquote standard. The truth is that if you want to deeply inspire somebody to go and do the work for them, your only job is to be the light. That is your only job. So when I say that, I mean be the inspiration. The inspiration so that they look at you and go, damn, she's really changed. Like, there's something different about her, right? Like, I want to be more like that. And they go and seek help for themselves, right? But if they haven't asked you a fucking question, then don't give them advice, because you know what it does? It actually makes the person resent you and whatever the fuck you're talking about. So let's say that you're talking about, like, you know, let's use a Tony Robbins seminar, because everybody knows them. A Tony Robbins seminar. You went to a fucking Tony Robbins seminar, and then it comes Christmas time, and you know you're at the Christmas table, and Uncle Rob hasn't asked you shit. He hasn't asked you about Tony Robbins, and you just start telling him about, like, well, let's say he says something about, like, oh yeah, my work's been a bit shitty lately, and you start going, this is a good example, work's been a bit shitty lately, right? And you start going on this tangent about NLP and how he needs to go to Tony Robbins, and this is what Tony says, and well, you have to show up with this energy or change that, like, fuck that, you're better than this, X, Y, and Z. It's like, did he ask for advice? No. So do you know what he then does? He goes, who the fuck are you? Like, what? Like, I didn't ask for your advice. And it actually will then make him resent you and Tony Robbins and anything to do with what the fuck you've just said. He will resent it, because he's like, what? He wasn't ready for that. He wasn't open for it. It's like, people will do the work when they are ready for it. In fact, you don't want people to do the work when they're not ready for it, because it means that they will twist all of the words they're hearing to suit their paradigm, because they're not ready to hear something different. So you don't want that. I remember, like, that for even a really little example is when my mum was quitting sugar with Sarah Wilson's I Quit Sugar thing, like, years ago. And she said to me, because I was like a fucking fruit addict and I would make myself like diarrhea sick off too many grapes. And she would say to me, like, oh, Monica, like, maybe you should cut down on like some sugar, like some of the fruit, because it still has a lot of sugar in it. And I was like, no, it fucking doesn't. It's natural sugar. And I wasn't ready for it. And then like 2 years later, I'm like fucking Sarah Wilson fangirling, because I wasn't ready for it. So like mum saying that to me, like, obviously she was saying it from a place of love. And I totally understand that now. And I love you, mum. And she knows that, but I wasn't ready to hear that at all. Another example can simply be like, let's say you're trying to like get your dad onto like universal laws and manifestation, X, Y, and Z. If you're slamming it down his throat or you're telling him where he's wrong, it is human nature to go, fuck you, and then be like, who, like, and then push them away and actually then disassociate and kind of hate on whatever they're talking about. That's human nature. Okay, that's human nature. When you've done the work, you will then be open maybe to some feedback. But again, like, I fucking do the work every day. And if somebody that I also do not know is sending me like long essays of how, you know, I need to get sisterhood and I should use other witches and whatever for my program. It's like, well, I'm a fucking witch. Just because I actually, this post I did, it was really great. I was like, thank you for sending me this fucking DM, because it really like got me thinking about something. And that was that, you know, because I don't look like a traditional witch, it's like, oh, then I can't talk about witchy things, or then I have to like consult someone that's a quote unquote witch. And it's like, I am a witch. Just because I don't like work in a crystal shop and have like a shitloads amount of eyeliner or something doesn't make me not a witch. And I was talking about this in another podcast interview that I was being interviewed on, where kind of we were saying how, you know, this happens also even like, you know, the body positivity movement. It's like, well, if you are, according to society standards, beautiful, then you can't say that you've ever had body issues or confidence issues. And that's so wrong. Like, being a witch doesn't look a certain way. Being a coach doesn't look a certain way. Being a healer doesn't look a certain way. And if you are shaming somebody because you want it done differently, that's a fucking new thing. So I want you guys to just all note, like, if you are sending people or telling people advice when they have not asked for it, and you're also assuming that they have no sisterhood and aren't a witch, and then whatever you're fucking assuming about them, that's really not fair on the other person. And you're actually not doing yourself any favors. Like, let me land this for you. You are not doing yourself any favors, and you are sure as shit not doing your passion any favors either. So like a little example, this woman was like, you should work with someone that's, been shamed and whatever, shunned in their past lives for being a witch. And I'm like, well, that's happened to me. And it's like this perception of, because I have talked about it. So because I'm not every day dwelling on like in a past life, I was buried alive. Like, I've had that dream since I was a little girl. Like, just because I don't dwell on it doesn't mean it didn't happen. And if you kind of put words into other people's mouths, or you put it's literally assumptions. When you place your assumptions onto another person, like, they aren't gonna fucking like that. And it really doesn't do any favors to you. So this is like a really strong and friendly from a place of love, because I was like, this literally came through when I was peeing on the toilet, and I was like, I need to fucking share this, because this is super important if you want to like maintain relationships, is not to give unsolicited advice. Like, it's kind of like, let's say like your boyfriend, like you're out with your boyfriend, or you're out with this guy that you're dating. Hold on, I need to see like a count. One sec. Let's say that you're out with this guy that you're dating, and he's like having a few drinks and whatever, and you're not really drinking, and he's like, oh, do you want a drink? And you're like, no, I'm fine, thanks. And he's like, oh, like, why don't you drink? And then, like, what you don't need to do is go on a fucking tangent of how alcohol's so bad for you, and like, you should probably stop drinking. Like, it's not good for your liver. It's like, he didn't ask you for advice of why drinking is bad. All he asked was why you don't drink. And the answer for that would be like, I don't want to, or it doesn't make me feel good. Simple as that. You don't need to project your sciencey or whatever advice, or like, it blocks my third eye, or whatever the fuck you're going to tell him. You don't have to project that onto him unless he's asked for it. So just like around this Christmas period, around the holidays, ladies, monitor, especially being in this world, like, monitor how much advice and how much information that you're giving to other people when they have not fucking asked for it. If you say to them, if they say to you, like, what have you been doing lately? You could share like, oh, I've been doing this program, or I went to this event, X, Y, and Z. But nowhere in there do you need to say, you need to do that. Like, you need to do this work. Because it will, maybe they'll be like, okay, but it's very likely that they'll be like, who the fuck are you to tell me to do that? Whether you are their child, their mum, X, Y, and Z. Like, let's just think about it like from when we were, let's think about it from like a mum to us perspective, or a dad to us perspective. If your mum says to you, you need to read this book, are you going to be like, okay, mum, whatever you say? Or are you going to be like, fucking shut up, mum? You're probably going to be the fucking shut up. Like, I don't have to read a book, right? It's kind of like at school when they say you have to read this book. You're like, no, fuck that. Like, I don't want to read it. When someone tells you have to do something and that like you're wrong, or you're a shitty person if you don't, does it make you want to do it? No, absolutely not. It also means though that if you do go and people please and do it out of people pleasing, you're going to bring so much resentment into the work and so much resentment into that relationship, which is very unideal, especially around the beautiful like holiday time, which obviously can be stressful for some people, but like giving unsolicited advice is just like not something that you need to be doing. Anyway, voice is fucked. So I am going to leave now, but I really hope that you guys got some juicy chicken nuggets. This is a really important thing for everyone to know over the Christmas period. So let's share it, shall we? Let's fucking share it. Also, if you haven't left a review on my podcast, I'd be so fucking grateful. Like I've said before, it's a beautiful energy exchange and it means so much to me. It's like your little way of giving me energy back for me, giving you guys energy, and for sharing this with you. Please also let me know your top takeaways. I love it when you guys repost it, but then you tell me what you enjoyed the most, not just like a screenshot, but actually sharing like a nugget that you got out of this. That's really awesome as well. And it's good like inspo for the people that are watching. And like, for example, posting like these podcasts or other people's podcasts on your Instagram story can be a way to plant a seed in people's minds, but you're not telling them you have to listen to this. Like, you're not shoving it in their face that's unsolicited. You're putting it on their fucking Instagram story. If they don't like what they see, then don't fucking follow you, right? Simple as that. All right. I'm going to love you and leave you all because my throat is like, time to go, Monica, time to fucking go. Okay, so I hope that landed for all of you and that you got a bit of a chicken nugget out of it. And if you are wanting to dive deeper and have a really comprehensive kind of like game plan and understanding before you go into the Christmas period, I would definitely encourage you to just check out, you don't have to buy it, but just maybe check out the Happy Holidays Masterclass, which is a part of Witch Womb Wisdom. So the Witch Womb Wisdom is my witchy program that is coming out. It's all self-paced and it is really fucking fun. It's all about unleashing that inner witch in a modern way. So all the details to that are on my website, on my Instagram, and you can click the description box below.
Well, thank you so much for tuning in. I hope that you got lots of chicken nuggets out of today's episode. I would be really, really grateful if you'd be able to leave me a review and a star rating that you think is appropriate, hopefully 5. And if you could share this podcast so that I can help more women live a life of flow and ease, I would be so fucking grateful. Make sure you tag me in it on Instagram so I can personally thank you, because I know so many of my clients have found me literally because their friends have posted about my podcast on their Instagram story. And I just want to help as many women as possible. So by you sharing it, I would be so fucking grateful. And I'm sure your friends would be too. If you do want to welcome me, please do check out my website for all those details. And of course, you can DM me on Instagram with any other questions. If you have any podcast things you want me to talk about, any ideas, any feedback, I am always open to it. And I always love hearing what you guys have to say. So please don't hesitate about that either. I will catch you on the flip side. Have an amazing day or night wherever you are.